that you were opposed to this cut, really. And that's the message that went out from Dáil Éireann. So I'm looking for clarification on that here in the Seanad. And finally, just to say, again, can you give me a commitment that there will be no change to the free preschool year in the term of this government? Thank you.
Thanks, Senator. Senator Jillian van Turnhout, please.
Yeah. Very much. I too support the amendments that are being put down before us. I did say earlier that if we could have accepted the compromise, I would be willing then to support this section. I am, and I will note again, disappointed that we didn't get an answer to our compromise proposal. So therefore I'm in no other position than to support the amendment being put forward on three bases. Obviously in relation to child poverty, in relation to the employment proposals being put before us, and in relation to childcare and after-school care and the lack of provision. At the end of January 2012, there was 90,000 lone parents who were in receipt of the one-parent family payment, and this is in respect of 149,000 children. And I tried to focus my intervention this morning on the second stage debate on those children, because children very often get forgotten in all of this. One-parent families are the unit group in Irish society most at risk of poverty. Children in one-parent families are poorer than other children. This is not speculation, it's a fact. We've been told this repeatedly by the OECD, the CSO, ERSRI, as you quoted yourself this morning, Minister, Bernardo's, Children's Rights Alliance, other NGOs have also come out to support this. When I spoke back in December on the budget, I spoke at length about the cumulative impact of successive cuts in successive budgets on vulnerable families. I stress that any hardship felt within a family is most acutely felt by the children. The concerns I raised then weren't new. They were concerns that have been repeatedly raised in the context of budgetary measures, not only domestically, but also by international observers. And Minister, I quoted this morning from Magdalena Sepulveda, the United Nations independent expert on the question of human rights and extreme poverty, who voiced these very concerns when she came to Ireland in January 2011. Not so long ago. January 2011 she came and she said, children continue to be the group most at risk of poverty in Ireland, with families, in particular single-parent families, struggling to ensure food, appropriate housing, heating and decent winter clothing. The substantial cuts in child payments in recent budgets are a particular concern, as they can exacerbate the situation of children and lead to an increase in child poverty rates, which are already worryingly high. This would represent a major step backward for children's rights in Ireland. She then went on to list all the measures of Budget 2011 and said the cumulative effect of all of these measures can have devastating consequences on the standard of living and their capacity to escape from poverty. We know this, yet you continue on this regressive course of action. Another argument that has been put forward to us today, we've heard to justify the amendment, is to break the long-term welfare dependency and get lone parents into employment. If this was the case, that none of the 90,000 lone parents in question are working, my first question would be, where are the 90,000 jobs for them to take up? But it's not necessary to ask this question, because 80% of them are either working or in education or in training. Minister, 7 is too young. The affordability and accessibility of childcare for lone parents is already a huge issue under the existing payment provisions. When the baseline of age 7 is reached in 2014, what are the lone parents who are working and those expected to get into employment supposed to do with their 7-year-old child? On average, there are 183 days in the primary school calendar. 7, 8, 9-year-olds, they're in, let's say, first, second, third class respectively. They finish school at 2:30. Most schools I know of ask you to drop your child between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. There isn't enough after-school childcare or affordable childcare available to cater for this need. Lone parents have to work around their children's schedules, working part-time, let's say 4 or 5 mornings a week. More lone parents will end up unemployed in these circumstances, as the job seeker payments are not payable to people who work in this manner. Minister, I appreciate that you've acknowledged that lone parents should not lose the one-parent family payment when their youngest child reaches the age of 7, unless a comprehensive system of Scandinavian-style childcare is in place. And I've given several arguments about why I think, yes, we can do it, but not on the timescale that you're proposing. I have grave concerns about the viability of such comprehensive and affordable childcare and after-school provisions being delivered within the next 3 years. A fully state-subsidised childcare and after-school care system would need to be cemented in law and subject to consistent standards and regulations across all providers throughout the country. Investment in training and professional development of the sector is key to the development of this system. Currently, Minister, in the early childhood care and education sector, apparently the salaries to date, just for what's being provided at the moment, is €320 million, with a further €105 million spent in the wider economy, and it employs 22,000 qualified professionals. I just want to give you the context of the numbers that we're talking about to provide what we have today, and nobody has said in this room today that what we have is perfect, so we need to expand that. That's quite some feat. Minister, I also mentioned earlier about the recent capital grant that was provided for childcare sector. There was award a fund of €6 million. They've received over 60 million in applications requests for that 6 million of grants available. That, for me, is indicative of the needs for more infrastructure and more building improvements in the sector to meet the current needs, to meet not future needs, to meet the current needs. There has been no significant investment in the development of after-school care in Ireland to date. Indeed, there continues to be a lack of information about the range of services currently provided across the country. The development of a comprehensive system of childcare and after-school care must be based first and foremost on the child's developmental needs. The development of after-school services will also need to involve schools. In general, the take-up of such schemes in schools was low, even when the funding was available. Bernardo's have voiced concerns that the Croke Park deal could also provide a barrier to the establishment of comprehensive after-school services by 2014, when the one-parent family payment changes would come into place. Given these complexities and our current economic climate, it could take as many as 10 years for the childcare support to be realised. And it's on this basis that I cannot support Section 4 of this bill. It should not. I think it should be withdrawn, it should be reconsidered, and bring it back to us when you have the wide range of measures, the package. Most of us buy into the vision. We agree with the vision. But let's make it as reform for me is about doing things together and joined up thinking. So, Minister, I would ask you to reconsider on Section 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And Tara?
Okay, thank you. Just again, in case the Senator was confused, just let me say, in 2012, the only people who are affected by this are people